Remittance Scheme LRS. Under LRS, all resident individuals can freely remit $250,000 overseas every financial year for a permissible set of current or capital account transactions. Remittances are permitted for overseas education, travel, medical treatment, and purchase of shares and property, apart from maintenance of relatives living abroad, gifting and donations. Under LRS, people can't send money to countries identified as equals non-cooperative by the Financial Action Task Force. However, the rules do not allow remittances for trading on the foreign exchange markets and the purchase of foreign currency convertible bonds issued by Indian companies abroad. Recent concern, outward remittances under maintenance of close relatives shot up to almost $3 billion in 2017-18 from a mere $174 million in 2013-14. RBI has been concerned over this and thereby, it has narrowed the definition of relatives to check the flow of funds. Hence, funds under the equals maintenance of close relative category can be sent only to immediate relatives such as parents, spouses, children and their spouses. This is brought about by defining equals relatives under the Companies Act, 2013 instead of the same Act of 1956. Barad, 22. The first further fund offered FFO of Barad 22 Exchange Traded Fund ETF was recently launched. Barad 22 will comprise stocks of 22 blue-chip public sector units, state-owned banks and 3 private companies where specified undertakings of the Unit Trust of India SUUTI has stakes. http://www.shankariasacademia.com www.yesparliament.com 89. It is managed through ICICI Prudential Fund and it is in pursuance of government's disinvestment policy targeting an initial amount of Rs.6000 crore. Earlier the government has launched Central Public Sector Undertakings CPSE ETF, which had stocks of many energy companies. Barad 22 is a well-diversified ETF spanning 6 sectors such as basic materials, energy, finance, FMCG, industrials and utilities. While CPSE ETF has only state-run companies as its constituents, Barad 22 will give the government a shot at selling stakes in some of the private sector blue-chip companies as well. Exchange-traded fund. An ETF is a type of fund that tracks the underlying assets and divides ownership of those assets into shares. The underlying assets can be shares of stock, bonds, oil futures, gold bars, foreign currency, etc. Shareholders do not directly own or have any direct claim to the underlying investments in the fund, rather they indirectly own these assets. The ETF's trading value is based on the net asset value of the underlying stocks that it represents. ETF shareholders are entitled to a proportion of the profits, such as earned interest or dividends paid, and they may get a residual value in case the fund is liquidated. ETF versus mutual fund. The transaction of stocks and bonds under the mutual fund is with the company that manages the fund. Whereas ETF, the ownership of the fund can easily be bought, sold or transferred in the same way as shares of stock, since ETF shares are traded on public stock exchanges. Export Credit Guarantee Corporation ECGC. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved a capital infusion of Rs.2000 crore for strengthening of Export Credit Guarantee Corporation ECGC. ECGC is a premier export credit agency to provide export credit insurance services to facilitate exports from the country. It offers credit insurance schemes to exporters to protect them against losses due to non-payment of export dues. The capital infusion would enhance insurance coverage to MSME exports. It will strengthen India's exports to emerging and challenging markets like Africa, CIS and Latin American countries. Environment. Animal Welfare Board of India. It is a statutory, advisory body established under Prevention of Cruelty to Animals PCA Act, 1960. It is within the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It ensures implementation of the animal welfare laws in the country and provides grants to animal welfare organizations and advice that center states and ups on animal welfare issues. As per the Act, the board comprises of 28 members including 6 MPs, 4 from Lok Sabha and from Rajya Sabha with the term of 3 years. It is headquartered at Balabidjar in Haryana. Last year, the government has notified that the board will be permanently chaired by officials from the Ministry of Environment. Recently, the board has issued directives to all the state departments to save stray animals from cruelty. Thus, the responsibility of protecting stray animals is given to state departments. Previously, it was the responsibility of cow shelters and animal activists. http://www.shankariasakatemil.com www.yesparliament.com 90. The board does not have the right to prescribe punishments or fines for violations of the PCA Act but can pursue legal action. Death equals God and Ra'iv forest is the name given to sacred groves located in western Ghats of Maharashtra. A sacred grove can range from a few trees to several hundred trees in a cluster with a local deity. They have been nurtured by local communities residing there, who draw upon traditional knowledge to conserve these patches of forestland. Owing to rising urban migration and eroding ties to nature, younger generations have little awareness about the importance of preserving these groves. Recently, the city-based environmental NGO has come up with a unique initiative to comprehensively document sacred groves in Maharashtra. It is not only to encourage local communities to carry their traditions forward, but to document regional deities in what proposes to be a socio-cultural assessment. Transfer of tigers are being translocated from one state to another for the first time in the country. The process is initiated to transfer from Kanha Tiger Reserve in Madhya Pradesh to Satkosia Tiger Reserve Strength in Odisha. The wildlife wing of the state government will have to work with Wildlife Institute of India (WII) for translocation of the tigers. Global Environmental Facility (GEF). India recently announced that it will increase grants to $15 million to GEF for the next 4 years. GEF was established in 1991 as a pilot program in the World Bank to assist in the protection of the global environment and to promote environmental sustainable development. The UNDP and UNDP and the World Bank were the three initial partners implementing GEF projects. In 1992, at the Rio Earth Summit, the GEF was restructured and moved out of the World Bank system to become a permanent, separate institution. Today it is an international partnership of 183 countries, international institutions, civil society organizations and the private sector that addresses global environmental issues. Since 1994, the World Bank has served as the trustee of the GEF Trust Fund and provided administrative services. GEF funds are available to developing countries and countries with economies in transition to meet the objectives of the international environmental conventions and agreements. The GEF is a financial mechanism for 5 major international conventions. 1. The Minamata Convention on Mercury. 2. The Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutants (POPs). 3. The United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity (UNCBD). 4. The United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification (UNCCD). And 5. The United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change (UNFCCC). The GEF, although not linked formally to the Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer, MP supports implementation of the protocol in countries with economies in transition. The GEF has 18 agencies as the operational arm of the GEF. These agencies work closely with project stakeholders to design, develop and implement GEF-funded projects and programs. http://www.shankariasakatemil.com www.yesparliament.com 91. Karyakarandra checks. Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change has urged school children to become environment protectors. Karyakarandra checks. They will help the government and society overcome the menace of plastic pollution. The minister administered a pledge to the children to undertake one green good deed every day, minimize the use of plastic and contribute their mite to totally stop single-use plastic in our day-to-day life. The minister expressed the idea in a mini-marathon called Envirthon. June 3rd is also being celebrated as World Bicycle Day across the world for the first time. Blue flag tag. The Chandrabhaga beach on the Kannada coast of Odisha will be the first in Asia to get the blue flag certification. The tag is given to environment-friendly and clean beaches, equipped with amenities of international standards for tourists. It will be awarded the honor on World Environment Day on June 5th. Environment Ministry sources say 12 more beaches in the country are being developed by the Society for Integrated Coastal Management SICOM, an Environment Ministry's body working for the management of coastal areas, in accordance with the Blue Flag Standards. The standards were established by the Copenhagen-based Foundation for Environmental Education FEE in 1985. The Environment Ministry embarked on the Blue Flag project in December 2017. TAP Declaration. It is a plan to make tabernacle premises litter-free. The equals TAP Declaration to beat plastic pollution was adopted, as part of which efforts would be made to make the 500-meter area around the 17th century monument litter-free. Steps would also be taken to phase out single-use plastic. The declaration is in line with the Environment Day theme, beating plastic pollution. World Environment Day. World Environment Day is celebrated on every 5th June of the year. The theme for this year's Environment Day, organized in partnership with the United Nations Environmental Program, is Beat Plastic Pollution. India is the global host nation for the 43rd edition of this event. India leads the charge in battling plastic pollution on World Environment Day. According to the Central Pollution Control Board, India generates about 15,000 tons of plastic waste every day, of which about 40% remains uncollected. About 70% of the plastic packaging products become waste in a short span of time. While plastics have a wide variety of applications, the global rally is against the so-called single-use or disposable plastic, used in bottles, cups, wrapping paper and bags. Together, they account for over half the plastic produced. Green Initiatives program on World Environment Day. Indian Navy has completed 4 years of its Green Initiatives program on World Environment Day. The adoption of a comprehensive equals Indian Navy Environment Conservation Roadmap has put Indian Navy on an ambitious path of synergizing equals blue water capability with a green footprint. http://www.shankariasacademia.com vertical line www.yesparliament.com 92. With an aim to achieve zero carbon footprint equals energy efficiency concept of sustainable green technology / norms based on GRIHA leads green fuels. The ARPOL compliance and alternative energy resources are being adopted in all future plans. Every year, the world uses 500 billion plastic bags, which contribute to 10% of all the waste being generated. Towards the objective, continuous and focused efforts are being put in place to ensure that the naval establishment remains devoid of non-biodegradable material at all times. Ganga Praharis. Ganga Praharis will boost biodiversity conservation in order to educate, motivate and ensure protection of aquatic species of River Bungo. A new grassroots-level volunteer workforce is out there to protect the biodiversity of River Bunga called Ganga Praharis. They are spread over Ganga Basin states of Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, Bihar and West Bengal. They were wrote in by Wildlife Institute of India WII Dirajan as part of the Biodiversity Conservation and Bunga Rejuvenation Project. The project is sponsored by National Mission for Clean Bungo NMCG under the aegis of the Nema Miganj program. The Ganga Praharis will be our role models in inspiring other members of the community to join hands in the efforts for conservation of the biodiversity of River Bungo. Each Prahari shall work on the model of equals each one make 10. The Ganga Praharis of the 5 main stem Ganga Basin states will be linked through mobile applications such as Bhuvan Ganga app, MyGov app and Swatch HTA app, thereby creating a broad network among them. World Oceans Day 2018. The UN General Assembly designated June 8 as World Oceans Day. The concept of a World Oceans Day was first proposed in 1992 at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro as a way to celebrate our world's shared ocean and our personal connection to the sea. It is to raise awareness about the crucial role the ocean plays in our lives and the important ways people can help protect it. The UN Division for Ocean Affairs and the Law of the Sea is actively coordinating different activities of the World Oceans Day. UNESCO's Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission (IOC) sponsors the World Ocean Network, which has since 2002 been instrumental in building support for ocean awareness events on June 8. This year's theme for World Oceans Day will be preventing plastic pollution and encouraging solutions for a healthy ocean. Kabalanjato National Park and Sangai. The park is situated in the northeastern state of Manipur. The marshland located on the southern end of the Lotak Lake was marked and named Kebalanjaro National Park. The Lotak Lake is under a Montreux record. The park is said to be the only floating national park in the world. Brown-antlered deer is found only in Kebalanjaro National Park. The habitat of Sangai is the floating marsh called Fumbies in Manipur's Lotak Lake. The brown-antlered deer is known by several other names such as dancing deer, elves deer, Sangai Andaman. It is believed that the dancing deer got its name to its delicate hopping while moving between the Fumbies. It is the state animal of Manipur. http://www.shankariasacademia.com vertical line www.yesparliament.com 93. The deer population is said to migrate from Fumbies to nearby island hillocks when their habitat gets flooded. Science and technology. Space Opportunity Rover. The Opportunity Rover was launched by NASA in 2003 to land in red planet Mars. The rover landed in 2004 and began traversing the planet in search of signs of past life. It is still actively exploring the Martian terrain. It was originally planned for a 90-day mission, but it has outlasted its planned mission by 55 times longer than originally planned. Mars is prone to dust storms due to its thin atmosphere and desertic conditions. Recently, it witnessed an immense dust storm which led to the impenetrable, perpetual night in the planet. Since Opportunity rover is solar-powered, the amount of light the spacecraft receives has dropped to less than 1% of normal levels. Before the storm began, it had been rolling down a channel called Perseverance Valley, which scientists think may have been carved by water billions of years ago. Curiosity, it is also the rover deployed by NASA in its Mars exploration program in 2012 to assess whether Mars ever had an environment able to support small life forms called microbes. The rover captured mesas and buttes on Mars' geological layer called Hasbury Formation, which is formed from the lake bed mud deposits. Sub-Saturn-like planet. The team of scientists from India has discovered the sub-Saturn or Super-Neptune-sized planet around a sun-like star. It has mass of about 27 Earth mass and size of 6 Earth radii. The planet will be known as Epoch 211,945,201b or K-236b. With this discovery, India has joined a handful of countries, which have discovered planets around stars beyond our solar system. The discovery was made by measuring the mass of the planet using the indigenously designed PRL Advanced Radial Velocity ABU Sky Search PARAS spectrograph. PARAS is the first of its kind spectrograph in Asia, which can measure the mass of a planet going around a star. The spectrograph is integrated with telescope at PRL's Parachikar Observatory in Mount Abu, India. Very few spectrographs exist around the world that can do such precise measurements. Indolan Small